Hello and welcome to Life Stories and Systems, a podcast where we'll talk about what's really going on in our homes and our lives, what's working, what's messy, and what we're trying to figure out along the way.
Hi, I'm Merridy and I help people make sense of their spaces and their photos.
And I'm Carla, and I'm passionate about helping women create systems that feel calmer and more intentional.
So today we are planning to just chat about our recent coffee and clarity get together. And I'll share a little recap from my trip to the Philippines. We'll talk about project planning and we've got another fun resource to share.
Right, so let's start with our recent coffee and clarity morning. Um, I think it was really successful again, and I really enjoyed it. A little bit more hands-on.
Mm.
Yeah, um, and nice energy in the room, and good conversation. And of course, you were the star. You were showing everybody what to do. So
Well,
yeah,
yes,
I think they enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. It was fun to share some ways of deleting and favoriting photos just to make, because, deleting photos, I don't think anybody particularly enjoys doing that. So I shared a few different ways to make it feel a little more fun. And I shared with the ladies who joined us about how to add captions to photos. So, I think one of the things that we can do to make our camera rolls, I don't know, more interesting, we can add context to the photos. So adding information into the caption field is great. So I shared some different ways that you can use that. There's so many different ways you can use the caption field, but that's for another day. And also shared with them just a couple of different features that are inbuilt into iOS 26, which is the latest operating system, and just shared with them a couple of little features around that too. And I think after that coffee and clarity, it kind of got us thinking about whether we should potentially offer like a conquer your camera roll workshop. So we're wondering whether
Yeah,
people might be interested in that.
yes, I think so. I mean, one of the little we got a little feedback after we had left, and one of the ladies sent me a message, and she was like, "That was a lot of fun. So enjoyed learning, and you and Merridy are amazing teachers. Could do this again." So that was really nice to hear
Yeah.
that. And so yeah, that's what I think. Maybe workshop might do it. Maybe we could offer both a morning for the ladies that aren't working, and
Mhm.
maybe an early evening for the ladies that are working. Yeah, I think we should open it up to more people and see if anybody's interested.
Yes, definitely. I think it would. I mean, we had an hour and, there was so
Oh,
many more things that, we could have shared during that time. So obviously having a workshop might, yeah, enable us to share some more information and teach a few tips and tricks. So I think it's something we definitely need to think about.
yeah, absolutely. There's so much to learn and to do to
Yeah.
on that. An
Yeah.
hour was really not enough, right?
No, no, we could have definitely kept going, couldn't we?
Yeah. Alrighty. Um, Saying on that, on your camera roll and what have
Mhm.
you, you just recently got back from your big trip to the Philippines. Well, not
I
big trip,
did.
but
Yes. Yeah.
so let's find out about what was it? What was great? What did you
Oh,
love?
yeah. Well, I definitely added to my camera roll. Uh,
Yep.
and I think, like we talked about in the previous episode about setting up for success before I left and kind of really
Yes.
thinking about what I wanted to do with my photos whilst on the trip. And so I mostly followed my own advice. But anyway, yes, what was great about the Philippines? So we went to El Nido in Palawan and so what was great about it? Yeah, it was very beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
it was, we did 7 days, which I felt was like a perfect length of time. I probably wouldn't need to stay any longer than that. I thought that was, yeah, a good amount of time because from Hong Kong, you really need to allow like one day, one travel day getting there and getting home. And I would say maybe a minimum of like 2 to 3 days in El Nido itself. We had longer there, obviously, which was lovely.
Yeah.
Um, there are three kind of main areas that people will stay in El Nido, the town itself, and then there's Korong Beach, and then there's Vanilla Beach. And you can stay out on the islands as well, which we opted not to do. One, because it was quite expensive. So we decided to stay on Vanilla Beach, and I was very happy with that decision. Having been to the other two locations, yeah, it was really beautiful. Our hotel was right on the beach. The water was amazing, great spot to watch sunsets, and yeah, so I think,
Like a little bit like
yeah.
paradise, really.
Mm.
Um, People sometimes say that it's very close, the waters and the clarity. It's like you
Mm.
could be in the Maldives,
Oh,
right?
100%. I mean, it was interesting because being out on the boats doing the island tours, um, sometimes you could think you're in Hong Kong because, I know a lot of people don't really realize that about Hong Kong, but when you're out on the water and, and you kind of get out of the city, it is very beautiful. But the
Yes.
difference, yes, being the fact that the water is so clear and so blue that it's quite incredible how far down you can see when you're out on the boat, and just the water temperature. It was so nice. You could just stay in there for hours, and so of course that meant that we had amazing snorkeling.
I
And
was going I was going to ask you if you had done your snorkeling and what
yes,
did you see? Like,
yes,
so what?
we did a lot of snorkeling, and we did two tours. So we did tour C and tour A, and we saw turtles on both. So that was, yes, I was like, yay! Love to see a turtle. That's very exciting. Um, so yeah, I was very happy. We saw like three turtles on the first one, and then we saw one just off the beach on the second day, which was really unexpected. And then we even saw some Nemos, some clownfish. So I
Oh, lovely.
love seeing those, and some other like angelfish and large schools of fish, which was, yeah, beautiful. And I think, yeah, the sunsets, we
The sunset.
take our blanket down and have a cocktail and watch the sun go down, and yeah, it was just really, really beautiful.
So let's go with all the trips, right? There's always great things, and then there's things that aren't so great.
Hmm. Yes.
What were those?
I would say on the way home, we had a 6 hour layover at Clark Airport,
Oh,
which was fine, but obviously, if you can avoid a 6 hour labour, which we couldn't, just the way the flights worked out. So that's one thing to think about. So yeah, obviously shorter would be nicer, but with the schedules, yeah, couldn't do that. We did get a little bit of Philippines belly, so
oh
that was
dear.
not so fun. Fortunately, it wasn't that bad that it stopped us doing anything, but and we think it might have been from the tour food, but of course you're never really sure. And we were pretty careful, because in my research I'd done before I went, a lot of people talked about getting sick, and so you do need to be really careful. With water, ice, having it like vegetables that have maybe potentially been washed in water, things like that. So that's just kind of one thing, you're having to kind of think about all the time.
Well, if you're traveling to Asia and places like that,
Mm.
it's something that you kind of it's ingrained in you, right? You
It
just
is.
have to be
Yeah,
really careful.
it is. It
Yes.
is. Like I say, yeah, obviously it's not the only place. Everyone knows about Bali belly, so.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, that was a slight downside, but apart from that, it was amazing. And I did want to say that I have been doing a recap document after every trip. And so if anybody wants to know where we stayed, where we ate, what tours we did, they can either just message us like through Instagram or comment trip, and I can happily send that to you. And I'm also in the process of doing a blog post. One of our friends, we were at a gathering just recently, and I was telling her, talking about trips. She goes, "Please write a blog," and a blog post. So I'm in the process of doing that. So that will have a lot more details. So you can keep an eye out for that as well. But I was saying to you
Yes.
the other day that, and actually I was talking to my son about this yesterday, doing a Mother's Day call. Um, Something that I have been pondering. So I do like to do a lot of research for our trips, and I think with, YouTube, AI, you now pretty much could almost watch an entire tour. So for example, in the Philippines, we went on tour C, they have tour A, B, C, and D, and somebody will vlog the whole thing. So it's like, oh, you could almost see the whole tour before you actually go on it. So it's like you're previewing the whole trip. And so my question was, can too much research like that almost not ruin the surprise, but ruin that element of surprise because it's like, well, I know which cove we're going to. I know, where we're going to kayak. Does that ruin the surprise element of a trip? So it's just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Because whatever you want, even going to the airport, you've got somebody that's vlogged the airport trip
Mm.
or how to
Yeah,
get to A to B, or, where the buses are, whatever it is, which I find really helpful. I
absolutely.
enjoy. I like looking at those kind of things,
Mm.
so I know where to go.
Mm.
Um, yes, it's a really great question about that. Is
Mm.
too much too much?
Yeah.
Or an element of surprise. The other thing I also kind of think of is we tend to have a list of things that you want to go and see or do because it's on Instagram, or it's like
Mm.
that's the best spot to take a photo, and then you get there and you know so do you do that, or is it best just to not to just do the basic research and just go with the flow? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's kind of two different kind of people
Mm.
and what in travel way. So it'd be nice to hear from our viewers
Yeah.
um, what they think.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
What
absolutely.
did you find you did too much research? Was there a little bit of element of surprise, like for the Philippines? Was that gone or
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It actually came up when I was doing some research for our next trip. And what made me think about it was I was uh, looking at a video about a place in the US that we're going to that you have to book because we're doing like a big hiking kind of trip.
yeah?
And I was watching videos, because we're only there a short time. And so which one should we book? What should we do? And then suddenly you see all the videos like, oh, don't bother about this one, go to this one. Oh, that's not so great. It's super busy. So it's almost like I'd looked at photos before thinking, wow, that looks so beautiful. And then suddenly you're like, oh, okay, is it not really as great as everyone says? So that's kind of what made me think about it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so there's
guess
kind of
it
that side of
takes
things as well.
takes away that element of you
Yeah.
excited about one
Yeah,
thing, and then it's
yeah,
like,
that's
oh
right. It can
well,
kind of make you go, oh, actually, do we really want to go there?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what, made me think about it. Yeah.
So talking about now going on a different subject,
Mm.
because you kind of mentioned you've got a trip coming up to the
Yes.
States.
Yes.
We're talking about so this little projects, I would
Mm.
call them,
Mm-hmm.
although it's planning for vacation or what have you. But so we're talking about different projects and how different cycles made me think about different cycles and seasons move us along,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah, for sure.
we're getting in Hong Kong at the moment. We're in May, but things are hyping up kind of towards the end of the term school year for us here. Not that
Yeah.
we have kids at school anymore, but without you realizing it, you kind of feel like that hype, and everybody's talking about what are you going to do for the summer, and
Mm.
where are you going? Are you? And so it made me think about, and you're already planning your next trip as well. So that's like kind of projects as we go along, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So I was, is it a natural rhythm that we go through, or is it something more intentional? And
Mm. Mm.
how do you tackle those projects?
Yes,
What do you do when so going in the States, for instance, that's a big project.
yes. Yes.
Well, would you call it a project, a vacation? That's kind of a little project,
Yeah,
I
I guess
guess.
it's planning. It does require a lot of
Planning.
planning.
Yeah.
And for us, we're always working around the school year too, and we want to maybe travel in the shoulder season so it's less busy. So we're
Yes.
not in the, we're going when the US schools have gone back to school. But I do think that one of the things that when we're out of the school, system with our kids, we can still take advantage of the momentum around those times of year, whether that be coming up to summer, coming up to the start of the school year, even in January when it's the new year. So you kind of, I do like to take advantage of those natural momentum seasons, I guess. So the other thing is if I think about other projects aside from traveling,
Yeah.
a lot of for me is about thinking about, say, my memory keeping projects. So, or my goals. I like to think of the year in quarters. And we both love Ali Abdaal.
Yeah.
Anybody doesn't follow him, definitely recommend. And he talks about
Absolutely.
he calls them quarterly quests because I love the word quest. It's like it just sounds more fun. And Ali, we've been watching him for many years on YouTube, and he's a doctor turned YouTuber, and he is from the UK, but he actually moved to Hong Kong maybe like 2 years ago now, I think. And so that
Yeah, it
was
must be.
super exciting because it's kind of like, oh, a YouTuber that we've been following for so long suddenly lives in Hong Kong. We're like, oh, what if we run into him in the street? And I know that you went to his event at the end of 2025 about how to make 2026 your best year yet.
Yep, loved it. It was great. I got all
Yes.
my planning done just about in the little workshop that he
Mm,
did. Made me think about a lot of things, so I didn't have to do it in the beginning
yes.
of January because I had done
Yes.
it.
Love
So
that.
that was great. And you
Yeah.
went to a live show of his,
I
right?
did. I did.
As
I just,
well.
yes, I happened to be just looking at Instagram stories, and he said, "Oh, I'm doing a free meetup in Hong Kong with this other guy called Sahil Bloom, who I'd never heard of before. It'd be a couple of hours. Come to this location." And so I signed up and I went, and it was so fun. Like I definitely was fangirling, and I was definitely the oldest person there. Uh, I think his demographic is not our
Not
age.
our age. No.
No, but I got there early. I got on the front row, and anyway, and Sahil Bloom, fantastic, and I follow him now, and I've read his book, and I love him as well. So he's definitely worth a follow too. So I just I
Yeah.
love the conversation, and Riley, my son, he has followed Ali for a while too, and he was so excited that I was getting to meet him, and I sat in that front row, and I thought I've got to get a selfie. So as soon as he ended. And he's like, oh, if anyone wants to come up, I was like the first person. I'm like, can I have a selfie?
And
So yeah,
go back onto our Instagram because there is a
yes,
page, there
there
is a
is.
post with Merridy and Ali
Yes,
on there.
yes, I know. I was
Um,
like, it was very exciting. Yeah, anyway, going back to quarterly
anyway,
projects. Yes, so my quarter one projects for my memory keeping was finish a trip video from 2024, which I have to confess, yeah, I still haven't finished. I'm
just
95% done though.
oh,
And I wanted to create some scrapbook pages for my daughter's 21st birthday, which I have done. Exactly.
well done.
And then was come up with some questions to ask my dad during our weekly calls. And this was more about just taking the opportunity to, record him talking about, his early life or specific memories. So I do have a list of questions, but I haven't actually used them. So I need to come up with a system. And I'm thinking Dad is not someone who would necessarily like think on the spot of an answer. Maybe if I kind of just proposed it on the call. So maybe it's like,
Yeah.
hey, Dad, I love hearing more about, your life. He was telling me some stories the other day on a call, and I hit the voice record on my phone and just recorded him talking about just a fun memory from living on the farm and bringing in the dairy cows and just things like that, which I love. But so I need to, yeah, come up with a system. So my trip video, I have said to myself, it needs to be done by the end of this week. So I am at the final step of it, but I need to give myself being an obliger, if you love Gretchen Rubin, I do need some outer accountability, and sometimes I can create that for myself. So yeah, how about you?
Um, I don't do quarterly quests like kind of
Mhm.
like you do. In a way, mine plays out more, I guess, seasonally.
Right.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I tackle big projects like going from winter to summer. And
Mm.
then it's like
Mhm.
putting away all the summer, like all the winter stuff, the duvets, the extra blankets, and
Yeah.
you've heard me say something like when I tend to go to Portugal in those summer between winter and summer, and then summer and winter again. And I always say, I'm getting the house ready for winter, or I'm getting the
Yes.
house ready for summer, right? So those so I don't know. I just tend to look at that, and
Mhm.
then of course in summer I tend to do a little bit in. It seems weird, right? Because summer in Hong Kong is so hot,
That's true. It is
and
very nice.
humid, and it rains, and we get typhoons and what have you. So we tend to spend more time indoors, I
Yes.
guess, right?
Yes.
So whereas people like get snow days, I guess we
Yes.
get rain days,
That's
and
so true.
then and I loved having some projects on the go for those
Mm.
kind of days.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just tendencies to do more of those kind of things during the summer.
Yeah.
So creating some travel books that I want to do,
Mm.
and organizing my library, my photo
Excellent.
library,
Yes.
that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, that brings me to, as an obliger, I tend to
Yes.
kind of put those things back because it's things that I like to do. And
Mhm.
so I've got nobody to like say, I need this done.
Yes.
So yes, so that's a little tricky. So sometimes we all need a little bit of
Outer accountability.
that's it, some outer accountability.
Yes.
And it's so thinking about that, we've got another friend who's a little bit of an obliger, and she's like, can we do a little workshop in the summer to
Mm.
get these things
Yes.
done? And that excites me. That I'm like, yes, let's do that. So then I can get my stuff done as
That's
well.
right.
Because then,
Yeah. No,
right?
me too. Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
so
So that kind of leads on into something that we wanted to share with you, another fun resource. And last episode, we talked about the decluttering scavenger hunt, which was a collab between Gretchen Rubin and Cassandra Arson. So Gretchen Rubin's from the Happier podcast. Cassandra Arson is from Clutterbug. We love both of those ladies, and they did a follow-up collab, which was like a 48 hour
eight,
before and after makeover, which I love. I don't know. Do you love a makeover?
love a makeover.
Yes, yes, love to watch that. And so they helped a family with two kids in a New York City apartment. And so it was interesting to see how they used both of their frameworks. So Gretchen Rubin has the four tendencies framework, which is when we're talking about obligor, that's what we're
Yes.
talking about. So if you haven't done the quiz, I would highly recommend it. Maybe we'll include that into the notes, the email, the podcast email. But she has a framework which is about how you respond to outer and inner expectations. So there is the obliger, questioner, upholder, and rebel. And so the obliger, so Carl and I are both obligers, so we respond to outer expectations well. So if somebody asks us to do something, we're on it. But
Yeah.
inner expectations, yes. So like my trip video, yeah, it's taken way longer than if Carla had said to me, hey, I need this, for my work next week. Okay, I'm getting it done. What about you? Oh, I was just going to say, what are you, Carla? But I know what you are.
Yeah,
Um,
obliger. But
yes,
then
yes,
we got the clutterbug style,
yes, yes, which is so
which
fun too.
which is
Yes,
so fun, right? So
yes,
what are you?
yes. So she
You've
has,
done the
yes,
quiz, I
I've done the
guess you've done the
quiz.
quiz.
Yeah, so her quiz is about what is your organizing style? So
Yes.
one, it can be helpful understanding yourself, but it can be really helpful for understanding other people in your family because it
Yeah.
can give you that context for why people are different and why maybe one of your child's bedrooms is way messier than the other one, or just organized differently, shall we say.
Yes.
Yes, it did really help me when I was helping my daughter set up her room for university because she's very different to me. And I got her to do the quiz, and it really helped me understand what organization worked for her rather than what I thought was the best for her. So I am a ladybug. So apparently,
Right.
ladybugs like things to look pretty and organized on the surface, but underneath can be really messy. And so, for me, I think that's like a friend of mine who was like that. So her house always looked beautiful and tidy, but if you opened a cupboard, like stuff was falling out of it. And I'm not that. So like any of these frameworks, you're not necessarily all the parts of everything, but some of it does fit. Like I do like hidden storage, like tubs, baskets, yes, without a lid, because then I can just go straight into it. Drawer dividers, I definitely have that. And then general categories, rather than being like super detailed, organization tends to work for a ladybug. What about you? What are you?
I'm a cricket,
Mm.
um, but yeah, like you, and I I don't know if it's truly a cricket. No,
Hmm.
obviously, everybody has a few tendencies here and there,
Yes, yes.
but I just love crickets. Love the visual simplicity
Hmm.
and organizational abundance,
Mm.
right? So I prefer to have my everyday items out of sight, which is it's true,
Yes,
um,
okay. Yeah.
right? Um, kind of like goes into a bit of a perfectionist
Okay.
and detail orientated kind of
Mhm.
person. So, but then of course I have a little bit of, I think a little bit of the ladybug comes into it
Mm.
as well, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
needs to be organized on the surface as well. As when I open my cupboards, like my pantry is all labeled.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
It's all done,
That's so true.
um,
That's so true.
and makes it a little difficult in a house with four young men, or three young men and a husband,
Yeah.
right? Because they
Yes.
not cricket
Yes.
at all.
I know. Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand. It's all labeled. It's all done. Well, why can't you just put stuff back where it's supposed to be?
I know. I know. I know. So
But
I
they
yeah.
don't see it that way. So
No.
it's super helpful to know, especially when we're going into a project and
Yeah.
trying to help people.
100%.
Super good to know what kind of organization people they are, like what's there.
And it made me think about one of our clients. We had her do the quiz, and
Yes.
she said for her, she said it was really insightful, and she didn't think that had we kind of said, "Oh, we think you're a ladybug or a cricket," she might not have taken it on. But her doing the quiz and reading about it made her go, "Oh, actually, that is the way I am," and it really kind of gave her some insight into herself that she hadn't really realized. So that was interesting.
That was very interesting.
But if you,
So if,
yeah, oh, sorry,
yeah,
I was just going to say,
no,
if anyone's interested in taking either of the quizzes, just and you want us to send the link, so you can just comment quiz and we can send you that, or just keep an eye out for the podcast email where I'll include the links in there too. So
yes, absolutely. That's going to be fun.
yeah,
And of course, if you do the quiz, go onto our Facebook or our Instagram and let us know
yes,
what, if you've done any of the quizzes.
yes, we would love to know.
Love to know. All right, I think we're kind of running out of time here.
I think so. I think so. So
So let's go. Thanks for listening today. And you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at Clear Curate Connect, or send us an email at clearcurateConnect@gmail.com.
and we'll be looking forward to see you in the next episode. But remember, you don't have to do it perfectly.
You just have to take that next simple step.
Okay, see you next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.